Hey gang, this week by request, and actually by a number of requests, we're going to do Blue Öyster Cult's 1981 classic, Burnin For You. The solo in it anyway, Buck Dharma, he really pulled out the stops and put together a classic solo here. It's really a great guitar song entirely, but the solo is really something special, I think. It's different. It's not your typical blues rock sort of licks and rhythms. So the rhythms are different, the lines are a little bit different, and the bends are different too. He bends on some interesting notes. So all of that's coming up. What I played in the beginning, we're going to go through that line by line, and yeah, we'll cover it line by line. Hopefully that's pretty close to what Buck Dharma played, or at least it sounds that way, okay? So that's coming up. Hey, as always, if you like this, click the like button. If you haven't yet, subscribe for one or maybe two of these every week. And while you're at it, why don't you check out markzabel.com. I just opened it up and poke around a little bit there. Anyway, this one's going to be a little bit long, so if you need to stop the video, go get a cup of coffee, come back or whatever, relax a little bit, chill, go ahead and do that. In any event, we'll see you in just a couple of seconds. All right, gang, let's go over this note for note. First things first, you can download the tab from the link in the description below. It's going to make your life a little bit easier. Second thing is, I'm not really going to show the right hand on this one. The right hand is pretty straightforward, and you can figure out the right hand, the picking motion, or the picking that works for you. I'm more concerned with showing how the solo goes all over the neck. This one does go quite a bit from the high to the low and back again. So I wanted to show that as much as I could. All right, so next thing is the sound. The sound is pretty straightforward. I'm using a sort of a late 70s crunch sound, and I've got a decent amount of overdrive on it, maybe 7.5 out of 10. So there's a pretty decent amount of overdrive on it, or of gain, I should say, gain. But there's also a few effects. So on the effects, what I'm using is a little bit of reverb, just a touch of delay, and I'm using a little bit of flanger. Not too much of any of those, and very little delay. Now you can substitute any modulation effect for that flanger. You can use a chorus, for example, or you could use a phaser, or if you had a univibe sitting around, you could use one of those. Don't use too much of it, just a little bit, and that's going to give you that sound. All right, so decent amount of gain, and then a little bit of reverb, tiny amount of delay, and some modulation effect. I chose flange. All right, so that's that. Now, let me, before I do anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the entire solo slowly first, and then we'll go through it line by line. Now, before I play the entire solo, this song is in the key of A minor. A couple of times it's in C major, but as you know, that's a related key. So the lines are going to be out of A minor pentatonic, A minor scale, so we'll be using the A minor pentatonic scale, A minor scale, A blues scale, and then a lot of the shapes we're going to be playing are out of arpeggios or triads that are in A minor, like F and A minor itself. Okay, so as you're watching this beginning stuff, maybe you can think about that. All right, so we are going to start this with a few pickup notes sliding up on the 3rd string to the 9th fret. That's just supposed to help you navigate. Okay, so that's the 9th fret, 3rd string. That's how we're going to go. Here we go. Here's the pickup notes first. Okay, let's break all of this down now line by line. First, the 3 pickup notes. So we're going to start with this. Okay, obviously we're starting with this slide up on the 3rd string to the 9th fret. And then if you can imagine, what we're going to play around this is around this little A minor triad where the A is on the 10th fret on the 2nd string. So it goes kind of like this. And just let that trail off. And that's the first, those are the pickup notes. Now let's go through the first line. Here's the first line. Okay, a nice start out. Now, this one, Buck Dharma doesn't use the blues box position all that much in this solo after the beginning, but in the beginning he does use it a little bit. So we've got that little descending passage. That's 1st string 5th, 2nd string 8th, 3rd string 7th, and we're going to bend up that 7th slowly. Okay, not like this, not like that, but very slowly. Second time we play it, we're going to let the notes bleed into each other a little bit. All right, so that's the whole lick. Play it again slowly. Okay, here's the second line. Okay, this one is pretty much out of A minor. So we're going to start with the 5th fret on the 2nd string and play kind of normally in a bluesy sort of way, a A minor pentatonic way. Now we have this little thing in A minor where we go to the 6th on the 2nd fret. All right, and then we play this. And for that we're going to pre-bend on the 7th fret on the 3rd string. We're going to pre-bend that a whole step and bring it down. So like this. And then for the final, now you'll notice I'm trying to get, with not too much success that time. There we go, got a couple of good ones. I'm trying to get pick harmonics there. Buck Dharma does a lot of pick harmonics in this solo, so anytime you can get one in, that's good. This line has a couple of them, so if you can get that, that's good. Okay, here's the next line. Let me play that whole line again in its entirety. All right, here is the next line. Okay, definitely a cool line because he's going in and out of position. So it starts out with this little run down the blues scale, starting from the 5th fret on the 3rd string. So that just runs down the A blues scale. Now if you can give that first note a little bit of a tweak, even a pick harmonic, that's okay too. Okay, that part's all straightforward. But now the next part, we're going to play this. Okay, so now what I'm doing, if I had bigger hands, I would play it all on the 6th string and play this. But I don't. So I'm playing, instead, I'm playing first a C note on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then I'm hammering on, without picking, I'm hammering on to the 5th fret on the 6th string, pulling off to the 3rd, off to the open. All right, so that's what I'm doing there. And then finally to end it up, we're playing sliding up to the 7th on the 6th and then playing the 7th on the 5th. Now, just as an alternative, you can play, instead of playing that C, that may be difficult, you can just play the G instead. So play 3rd on the 6th, and then play 5, 3, and open. And that's pretty straightforward and easy, okay? Or relatively easy, okay? Instead of that other. But it's nice to play that other too. Okay, so here's the whole line. Here's the next line. Okay, so this line is basically 2 chord ideas, both around an F triad, okay, or an F chord. So the first one is around this chord right here. You can imagine this little guy D that you could play on the first 3 strings. We're all very familiar with that. Move that up 3 strings, or 3 frets, and you've got an F. But we're not going to play it like that. We're going to play it by barring on the 5th fret, and then playing the melody line on the 2nd string. So like so. So what's really going on is this. On the 2nd string. But we're carrying around the 1st and the 3rd string for the ride by just barring them on the 5th. Okay, so it's like this. But again, we're barring that, so it sounds more like this. Okay, then we're moving up, so that's that part. Then we're moving up to the 10th, and we're playing on the 2nd string 10th, 1st string 12th, and we're playing essentially the same sort of idea. Okay, so that's just pulling off on the 1st string. Now you're playing the melody on the 1st string, okay? But you're playing the 10th on the 2nd string through all of those. Play that slowly. So that's that line. Okay, here's the next line. All right, so one of the coolest lines in this one, for sure. We're going to bend up on the, now we're still playing in that A minor pentatonic, but we're playing in a totally different position here. All right, anyway, we're going to start by taking on that 15th fret, bending it up a whole step, bringing it down, pulling off to the 12th. Now, if you listen very carefully to the solo, I think he's just bringing it up and down. And that's fine if you just want to do that too. I don't know why I got to the habit of pulling it off. I think that sounds good too. All right. Next, we're going to play 15 and 15 on the first 2 strings. We're going to bend up the 2nd a whole step and pull it off to the 13th. That's very AC/DC, right? Okay, then we're going to play this. That's 17, 13, 15. And then this odd combination of bend and the dropping a string. So that's on the 2nd string 15. We're bending it up and down a whole step. And then we're playing this. Now that is an interesting mechanism, right? Because on the 12th, on the 3rd string, That happens to be a G because it's an octave up from open. So by playing alternating G, what that second thing does is it sets us up to be able to quickly move down the neck and change positions completely, abruptly. So what we're doing is we're using that open string to be able to move down quickly. And that's exactly what's happening. Now you can also pull it down, and that I think sounds good too. Let me show you how that sounds. That sounds good, I think. All right. In any event, here's the whole lick now, or that whole line. Here is the next line. All right, another very cool line. So we're going to start out here on the second fret on the third string and play the following. That's just a half step bend kind of, and then coming back, right? So give it a nice little shaky sound. All right? And then this. So that's really neat. We're essentially playing a pull-off from 6/5 to 3, so that's only one pick. And then playing this. Now notice we're bending very quickly after we play that note, the third fret on the second string, which is a D. We're not playing. So we're playing this. All right. So anyway, the last we end up is this. Here's the whole line now. All right. Here's probably the most iconic line from the solo, this. All right, sounds really cool when you play it up to speed, and it's not that hard because you're really just playing hammer-ons and pull-offs. But essentially, what we're starting out with is second fret, third string, and then pulling 4, 2, and open a bunch of times, 4 times. And then we're doing the same thing on the fourth string, except instead of 4 twos open, instead of 4, 2 open, we're playing 5, 2 open. Okay? So here it is up to speed. It sounds a lot harder than it actually is. Pretty easy. Okay, here's the last line. Okay, very straightforward here. We're going to play a D, that is on the fifth string, fifth fret. And then we're going to play just the first part is on the strings 3 and 2, and we're playing 5 and 6. So that's that little F. It's part of the F triad, but not the top voice. Okay, and then we add a top voice on the first string at the 8th fret. And we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's like this. And then we play to end it up. So it's starting on the 10th. And that's it. Well, there you have it, gang. Buck Dharma's awesome solo to Burnin For You. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know I learned some things by putting together this lesson that I thought were pretty helpful. So I hope you did too. And bottom line is I hope you had fun with it because I know I had fun with it. This is a blast to play and it's a blast to master. And plus you learn something to boot. What could be better? All right. Until next time, we'll see you on down the road.